So this is it. This is the new release. This is something that has been on our radar for as long as it existed. We've been looking at this, as you guys probably know, because we worked with Tony McVeigh on the Gamorrean Maquette that is behind me, which was from Mandalorian Season 2, and also with him on Salacious Crumb, which everyone knows he sculpted for Return of the Jedi back in 1981, I guess he would have been doing that work. And I say everyone knows that because normal people don't know that, but you people and us, this is sort of everyone knows that. Tony McVeigh made Salacious Crumb, everyone knows that. But that's pretty niche knowledge now that I think about it. So we had been working with Tony on those other editions, and we started talking to him about his concept work for Baby Yoda, aka the Child, aka Grogu. And that was another clay sculpture of his. This was a hand sculpted piece. Much like the Gamorrean, all of Tony's stuff has been traditional. So Tony's done a handful of maquettes for the Mandalorian show, a few for season 1, a few for season 2, and everything he's done has been hand sculpted in clay and then molded and cast to send to production. And we were very fortunate that the mold still existed for his Baby Yoda sculpt, and that he had excellent reference on the paint for the initial version that he sent to the production folks. And that's where our little guy comes from. So this is another one of those times where, you've got all companies out there making Baby Yoda toys and plush and dolls and replicas and whatever else. But we needed to figure out what was the us way to do this. This is a character that most of the other stuff we've been doing, it's all classics. So here's, and we've done some Mando stuff in the decor sphere, but this is the first. Well, no, I guess we got the Gamorrean, so I'm lying. But when it came to Grogu, how is the regal way to do this? How is the Tom and Rob way to put this thing into the line? And for us, it was that artifact. It was that we knew that we had something special, that this wasn't just our interpretation of the character or a toy or a doll or whatever. This is part of the history of the character. This is, how it came to be. And there's, of course, a second layer to it. And this is one of the cool things about Tony. He is a supreme gentleman and a very nice guy. Gabe Estrada actually did a video about this that just went up on his channel. His channel is Star Wars Replicas on YouTube. If you watch that video, he has a little clip of an interview he did with Tony where Tony's talking about Baby Yoda. And this was my experience too. Whenever you talk to Tony about this, the first thing he says is, well, Christian Altsman did the sketch that I worked from. And that's this. I'm going to shift this out of the way for a minute. And that's something, that you don't always find. People that do sculpture work would probably more often want to just take credit for the whole thing. So he always mentions Christian anytime he talks about this character. And this was actually the first, kind of final approved piece of art that Christian created in designing the character. He had done a whole bunch of other concepts prior, and other people I'm sure worked as well, but this was the approved look. And so that's what Tony then worked from on this. Am I matching the angle here?
Yep.
So, and you can see he's clearly working right off of that. What's interesting is it's not a perfect match for the final. It's certainly really close. It definitely has, we always say, I don't know, is there a picture of, I don't know if you probably can't see Stuart Freeborn well enough from there. There's a shot of my wife and I with Stuart Freeborn over there. But, Yoda looks like Stuart Freeborn. That's always the gag. I feel like this looks even more like Stuart Freeborn. Maybe just like, more like Stuart Freeborn when I got to meet him when he was 90. But so when we started working on this, we had those original molds, we had Tony, and we thought, well, we could do this signature edition, but Tony, every time we talked to him about it, it was always Christian, and he's not wrong. So we thought, how can we make this even more special, bring a little more of that history in, and the way we did it was with Christian Alsman, who is also a swell guy, and I feel pretty honored to know, and our end result is a dual signature edition instead of just one, and not a lightsaber duel, like two people. The dad jokes come free. The video is going to cost you. But so the end result was we had both Tony and Christian sign the plaques, and we put them top to bottom. It's kind of like it's alphabetical, but it's also the history of the character. The sketch came first, and then the sculpture. And like I said, this has been kind of a long time coming. This is something that we have had in the mix for a very long time. I'm really glad that we can finally, we finally got the okay to put this out there. Every one of these does come with a nice printed card with this art on it as well. I believe it's a 5x7, so it's nice. We tried to keep it to a standard frame, so it'd be really easy to just frame up and put next to your little Grogu with your plaque. Do we have, I assume we have comments and questions?
Yeah, Ian actually has a good question that we wanted to address anyway. He wrote, I think the Maquette made his debut at the Mando Experience at Celebration last year.
So, interestingly enough, a copy of the Maquette made its debut at that exhibit. The Maquette we were working from, so ours came from the original molds for the Master, and in terms of the paint, we matched Tony's original paint that's seen in only like one or two behind the scenes photos. But Tony had really, really good reference photos of that paint. So we did our best to match that as best we possibly could. I will note, these are 100% made in our New York studio outside of, the base and the metal for the plaque and stuff. They're hand cast. They are hand painted head to toe. They get lots of layers of washes and details. All the eyes are hand painted, all of that stuff. So these are all being made right here. And in fact, at the moment, our casting room has this and our next maquette actually in the cycle right now. So every day they're pumping out a few more of these from the casting room, and then they're starting to paint. So the one at Celebration, very, very much the same sculpt, some slight variation in the paint. That one, the eyes are a little softer, and I think his jacket's a little bit lighter, or his robe, whatever you want to call this. But we wanted to be true to the first one that was sent to production. Like I said, I think on the Regal Robot page, there is a link that was posted up a couple of days ago that was to a Christian Alsman article telling you a little bit about his history. And I think within that link they had a picture of Tony's original maquette from the production. And Gabe's video also has a photo of it. And it's neat. It's obviously been used by the production and beat up a bit. You can see it's all scuffed and dirty and stuff like that. But we had really nice pictures of it when it was new and clean, and Tony had done all the hand paint on it. And we just did our best to match Tony's work.
Craig says he has a spot all ready for him, so thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
And Chad says he has one pre-ordered already.
Thank you, Chad. Yeah, looks like a bunch of people have actually pre-ordered today. Very true to how these sort of things go. When a new item goes up, the first 30 seconds is where the most orders seem to come in. The next 4 or 5 minutes seems to be second most. Then it's the hour, and then after that it's a very different story. But it's always impressive to us just how quickly those initial orders come in, and how many people must be sitting there hitting refresh. And I don't know, some people out there, you guys have to be using some sort of autofill with your credit card information or something, because it's incredible how fast some people are on the draw with this.
All right, Mike asks, how exactly is the addition working for the new Baby Yoda maquette?
That's a good one, Mike. And also, again, if you are watching live, in the comments, you can put any questions. Rob's keeping an eye on that. They do sometimes go by quick and get tough to see. If you ask something and you don't see an answer, feel free to just ping it again, because they seem to fly by on that screen while we're shooting. So the edition size on this, we're trying something a little different. This is a different kind of character for us. You know, when we're talking about, you know, the Weequay Maquette or the even, you know, the alternate versions of the Tauntauns, let's say, those have a much different audience, I think, than, you know, this guy. And it was important for us not to set this with, you know, 100-piece limit and wind up cutting too many people out. We also don't want to be that place that people can't buy from, frankly. You know, it's nice that our stuff sells out. It makes us feel great to know that people want what we're doing, and that, you know, we've set an edition size that's appropriate and good. The New Hope Caffey sticks sold out in about 4 days. And that was an edition of 150 pieces. And we've actually got a pretty sizable wait list on that already as well. But that to me is pretty good. You know, maybe that could have been even a little higher, but then we're also balancing what are we able to actually produce and stay on top of. We're still a very small studio. We're still making everything in the States. We're still doing a lot of stuff by hand. You know, even things like packing these things up by hand takes a lot of time. So anyway, we didn't want to make this unnecessarily small, and to be honest, we don't know exactly how well this is going to sell and how many people are going to want to add this to their collections. So we're starting off with basically a 2-week period where we are not going to set the edition size. And so anyone who orders between now and March 15th, barring anything weird or unforeseen in terms of the amount, if it starts to get really out of hand, maybe we've got to cap it. But anybody who orders in that time frame, we're going to honor that order. On the 15th, we're going to announce what the edition size is. We don't want to leave this up forever. We don't want to make it something that, you know, it's a big question mark. How many is it going to be? So we'll set that size on the 15th. We will set that size probably with a few extras so that, you know, there'll be, oh gosh, I don't even know how many extra, because it's going to just depend on how the sales are going. But it may be something where, you know, there's a decent number there so we can say, okay, now there are, you know, it's the 15th, the edition size is going to be this much, and there's this many left. So that people not only know how big the edition size is going to be, but how many are left in that edition, and I guess basically to tell them how quickly they're going to have to act on that once they see that the edition size has been set.
Sam says he pre-ordered his, so thanks you,
Sam.
Sam. Rick says this guy is awesome.
I really am, thank you. He's probably talking about the paint.
Totally.
Yeah. Has anybody seen the new episode of Mando? If you have, don't put spoilers in the comments. We haven't seen it yet.
See, now that's what they're going to do.
Well, it's only going to affect you. You're the one reading
You ruined it. David is asking, what's behind Ree's on the top left shelf?
Ree's top shelf.
I don't know what he's seeing. Yeah.
Our left?
His left, maybe?
I don't know.
I'm
not seeing anything. I'm
Never
not sure what
mind.
he's talking about.
I am pretty
Should
caught
we
up.
talk about somebody had asked prior on, I think it was on our page, were they asking about the next maquette after?
Oh, yeah, we do.
We
Actually, it's Ian. He goes, might we get a hint, clue, or a breadcrumb about the next Return of the Jedi release that's on April 4th?
That doesn't sound like something we would ever do.
Never.
No.
Never,
Hinting
ever,
and
ever.
breadcrumbs
Never.
and things behind people, that would not happen here. So, we did put a date on that, and of course our light is blocking, but it's so April 4th.
April 4th.
So today, Baby Yoda, now live, order yours. Make sure you get in there before March 15th. And again, March 15th, we will set the edition size. So if you are one of these people who wants to know the edition size before you order, you're going to want to wait till March 15th, but then you're going to probably want to act fast because when we do announce it, there probably won't be many left. All that said, we announced him. We have next week on the 7th, we have a mini skull coming. So anybody who's got our little Mandalorian, the Mythosaur mini skull,
Mudhorn
or the
mini skull.
Mandalorian Mudhorn, those are about 5 inches tall. We have a companion piece to that. I'll say it's Boba Fett themed, and it is very vintage. It's very us. It is so us. It is for people who are fans of the making of the movie as much as the movie itself. So you know, us. And I think. So yeah, that comes out on the 7th. We'll send out an email if you are watching this, and for whatever reason you're not already on our email list. You should go to the website, type in your email, and then we'll send you a notification like anytime something cool's coming out. We'll be like, hey you know, something's cool, you could go see it. So after that, that's the 7th. Do we have a date on? So we have one thing that may hit in between, we're going to see, and then on the 4th is our next Maquette. The next Maquette will be a Return of the Jedi Maquette, back to our series of the concept maquettes for the creatures of Return of the Jedi. It'll be a new signature, I think I could say that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another person who worked on...
It's a fun signature.
It is a fun signature.
It's a good one.
And it's going to be a great conversation. I'm going to do a video.
It's a good one.
A lot of great stories. Someone who's done a ton of great work throughout the career. This is another person who worked on Return of the Jedi, sculpted both maquettes and full-size characters for the show, did all sorts of other work and fabrication. I'm excited about it. And we'll probably leave it there. We say it was one of the Kenner action figures.
It was, yeah. A very
good one.
A very sought after one.
Yeah. Pretty sure a lot of people like that one. So some of us didn't know it existed. For a while
you're giving me too much.
Oh, sorry.
I'll put Baby Yoda in your mouth.
Like one of the frogs. I'm apparently not allowed to say more. Well, speaking of not allowed to say things, though, Indiana Jones. So the official release date for all classic Indiana Jones material is April 10th, and we're working on a bunch.
While you're on that topic,
Yes.
Ken, our buddy Ken, is asking if we can give any hints to what kind of products will be released for Indiana Jones.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we can't say.
We can give a roundabout, right?
Yeah, we're pretty muzzled, but you know, looking at the board. By the way,
there's no board.
We proved it.
Yeah, we did prove it.
Anybody who ever wanted to see a picture of the board, go to the new Regal Robot Fans and Collectors Showcase group on Facebook.
Group.
If you're watching this on Facebook, go, just search for Regal Robot Fans and Collectors. The group will come up. Join the group. Answer the questions so we know you're not a robot. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Please like and subscribe. And also go to Facebook and join that group. We post behind-the-scenes photos. We post a lot of information. And we even posted our first ever look at the board.
We did.
So anyway, looking at the board. So types of things. I would say, think about our Star Wars decor line. And even to some degree, our Star Wars collectibles line. On the decor side, you have things like director chairs, you have things like desk accessories, you have things like magnets. Those are all things that we would be doing, in the Indiana Jones sphere. And yeah, there's also
I'm miming him things.
We also have a very cool 3-dimensional wall art piece that's very artefacty.
It's awesome. It's really awesome.
Chunky and great.
I want one. Or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
On the collectible side, go look at the From Star Wars to Indiana Jones, the Best of the Lucasfilm Archives book.
And the first collectible is a cool one.
The first one is
it's
a cool
really
one,
cool one.
And it's like a lot of the stuff we're doing in Star Wars, this is still the archive collection. This is now just this continued extension of giving people a chance to bring home the archive, giving people a way to get this stuff that they've seen, they've dreamed about, they've lusted after, they've read about it in books, or seen it in a behind-the-scenes thing, and want to bring it home, as close as they can to having the real thing. And so that's the approach we're taking there. We're not doing a ton of that. The Indiana Jones line is gonna be manageable. We're not gonna dump a ton of it out right away either. We want to give folks a chance to get it, but yeah, there's really cool stuff in the works, and we have a lot of other ideas as well. So if April 10th comes and a lot of people are on board and bringing this stuff home, then that gives us the wherewithal to tell Lucasfilm, like, hey, this is working, let's do more.
Juan says, pre-ordered this wonderful piece, saw a version of him at the Mando exhibit at Celebration. I wish I had one, thanks to Regal Robot. I will, thank you.
Thank you. And that's exactly what we're after, right? It's like, we go to these exhibits. Somebody sent me Parminder. I'll name drop him, but he sent a photo of himself leaning against a display case, where you saw the Klaatu full mask,
Rebo.
the Klaatu Maquette, which is one of my favorites, Ken Ralston sculpt, and the Max Rebo Maquette. Yeah. And his take was essentially like, "Thanks for giving me a chance to hold this." And it's so weird to us, having seen the real things and held them and done our research and scanned them, and we're sitting there when we're researching this stuff. You're like calipering. You're putting you're measuring stuff right around. You're putting your paint chips right against the thing to match colors. Like you're interacting with this thing in a way that you never expected you could possibly do. And then when we get our development done and you hold it in your hands and it feels the same, like the gaffy stick is the one for me like that. That is a prop I've always thought was super cool. I made my own years ago, and then eventually had various versions throughout the years that I made or folks that I worked with made and things like that. And it was always neat holding a replica, but holding the real one at the archives, it's an insane feeling. Mm-hmm. The really insane thing, though, is that's the same exact feeling I get when I pick up our gaffy stick. The Mando one is cool because it's out of our mold, so it's like I already knew what that felt like. But the A New Hope one, congrats to anyone who got that. And just like I'm telling you, when you hold that thing, the heft, the weight, the feel of it, it just feels like the real thing. And I'm trying not to pat ourselves on the back too much for that, but it's a cool feeling. I'm glad that we're able to give people the chance to have that feeling.
All right, our friend Melanie has a few questions. First, she says, "Oh my God, the suspense is killing me." She loves Return of the Jedi in regards to the new maquettes coming out. And she has a good question. Do you guys ever repeat characters like Chewbacca, just differently for ones that missed out on the previous sculpts?
That's a great question, and Melanie, thank you. We did notice you jumped in on our Facebook page from time to time. We've seen some questions and likes, and we always appreciate the input. And so yes, do we repeat things? So we try not to repeat ourselves too directly. We want to make sure that every edition we do stays special. In the instances where we've had a signature edition of something, sometimes we'll have a numbered edition. Usually we'll try and make those come out at the same time so people can kind of make an informed choice on it, rather than doing a signature edition and then doing a numbered edition. It doesn't rule it out. If anybody out there missed out on reuse, by the way, if you go to the website, go to the archive collection page, and there is a waitlist page for that. You can click the button, it'll send us a message to put you on the waitlist. Right now, we don't have a numbered edition plan for that. But if enough people get on that waitlist, that's going to be what pushes us over the top on that. So if there are people who missed out on things and you do want things to happen like that, we can't promise anything, but the best way to make it happen is click those waitlist buttons and let us know. And if there isn't a waitlist button, just email the studio. You know, there's only a handful of us here. They're a super friendly bunch. I absolutely love everything they do here. They work so hard to make sure that they're personally interacting with every customer that comes, digitally through our door, and that's a great way to keep us informed about what people are looking for. On the Chewbacca specifically, we did a very small edition of Chewbacca heads a few years back. It was 50 pieces. It was a signature edition. Originally going to be Peter Mayhew, but he passed away. It was like right around the day he was supposed to sign the plaque, sadly. Mark Hamill stepped in and signed a letter for everybody who got that edition, which was just amazing on his part. It was a letter about Peter. So everybody who was a part of that edition really did get something special there. Eventually, there was so much demand for more Chewbaccas that we decided to do the new edition of him, which is a bit bigger. It has the shoulders, it has the bandolier, it has a posable head. It is different both in the mechanics of it and the size of it and the look. It's also different in price, but it's different enough that I think it keeps that original edition special. And so for right now, that's one way that we're able to address that. Is there ever a day where we readdress something like the Rancor that we did, which a lot of people, really, really loved? We sold 83 of them. They went very quickly. If we ever did that, it would have to be substantially different from the original, or at least that's what we would try to do. And I don't see that anytime soon. I think there are other ways that we can address that character that will, I think, scratch some of that itch. And I think that, we have so much that we want to do, looking at the board in particular on the maquettes and things like that. There are so many. We have worked ahead on the digital side with the scans and cleanup, and on development side, actually making masters and starting on paint and things like that, just so we can get ahead. We're trying to really develop this as a line and come up with something. I don't know. Is definitive the right word?
Yeah.
Like something that feels substantial.
Yeah.
That is more than just the sum of its parts. That is, an artifact that feels like it is part of something. And I think people are starting to see this. One of the things that's been really cool is seeing people who are now posting not just, hey, I got my Rees, but here's my Rees in my maquette collection. And now we're seeing, on the same set of shelves, a Tauntaun, the Tauntaun bust, Max Rebo, Weequay, Rees, maybe the Gamorrean.
They look great.
The Jabba the Hutt. It's like, it starts to give you that feeling like when you're in the archives looking at their shelves, it's like, oh my gosh, why is this in front of me? Why is this in my house?
I put on gloves before I touch mine.
So, and you always take a bike ride past the main house before you go in.
Duh.
So anyway, we have a lot ahead. What that probably means is we're not going to go back and retread stuff just yet. But again, if there are things you missed and you want to see them, drop us an email, hit those waitlist buttons, let us know. We keep track of it. We don't ever promise we're going to reissue things, but, and if we ever do stuff like that, it will be similar to the way we did Chewbacca, where it is something unique, and the original edition will stay special. We're committed to that. We don't want to hurt the folks that, buy from us and support us all this time.
Melanie also says, I missed out on all Chewies. I lived behind the moon too long. But the bust is still available.
So if you go to the archive collection page, just scroll down a little bit. We have the Chewie bust available. This is the Head and Shoulders bust. It's about 36 inches tall. He's big. And then, if you're interested in a full-size Chewie, that's actually something they're working on 4 or 5 of right now in the studio. Those are head to toe, 7.5 foot tall, just as big as Peter Mayhew in the costume, full giant Chewbacca, bandolier. There's one version with the crossbow and everything. They're pretty amazing. We actually had someone here the other day, and if you're in the comments or if you're watching, chime in or post this story on the group. He came through and he saw one of the life-size Chewies that we have in the back, and the first reaction was, that's so much cooler looking in person than it's like the pictures on the site just don't capture it. And it really is that way. It's tough to photograph him and get it to feel like when you're in the room with him. It's got a presence and a size that's just really cool. And the detail that the team puts in is always top notch. So
Earl's got a good question. The Return of the Jedi Gamorrean Maquette would not be a repeat of the Mando Gamorrean wrestler, right?
100% correct. We love those Gamorrean maquettes. So Dave Carson worked on Return of the Jedi, sculpted a lot of the full size, sculpted a lot of the maquettes. He did 3 versions of the Gamorrean. If you have the book From Star Wars to Indiana Jones, The Best of the Lucasfilm Archives, there's actually a 3-up of those. Or if you have Star Wars Chronicles, they have great pictures of those. One is a bust, real beefy and troll looking. One is a thinner version of him. Kind of looks like he's got like an S&M whip or something like that. And then the other's very true to the final. And he's walking. It's got a great body attitude. Honestly, all 3 of those are high on my list. I guess the skinny one is a little less. Like if we, but well, anyway, yeah, those are amazing, Earl. And I think, certainly among the things that pique our interest.
Mike says our cantina chairs are amazing.
Thank you, Mike.
And he's also wondering why you're not sitting on an Emperor's chair. It would never fit in here. That's why.
Yeah, it's a small office. I rule the galaxy in my own style.
Ian is saying, for the new Return of the Jedi maquette, will you guys be releasing a video chat between Tom and the artist? Those are always great to hear.
So the goal there is yes. Obviously between now and then, you never know what happens in life and things like that. But 100% would love to do that. Already have questions and things primed for that, and I think to me it feels like it might be one of the most fun ones. I've already had great long conversations with this artist, and both by phone and email and things like that. So I have no doubt this is going to be a fun video chat. Thank you for watching those and for saying that. For anybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, if you're on YouTube, go to our channel first, subscribe, and then look at our past videos, and you'll see interviews where I've chatted with various folks that worked on the old Star Wars movies, and these are just really great people, full of great stories and creativity, and I love picking their brain about process. So if you're interested in what really goes on behind the scenes, these are fun videos to watch. And if you're on Facebook, go to our YouTube. Go to YouTube, look up Regal Robot, remember to subscribe, and then look for the videos and watch them.
Alex is asking, will you be offering anything specifically for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi?
That's a great question,
That
Alex.
is a great question.
So, we do have some stuff in mind. Obviously, we're continuing on this Return of the Jedi maquette line, and we expect to do a few more of those before the end of the year. And we're extremely excited about that line. It's hard to put into words how excited that line makes us. And the anybody who's looking back there, there's plenty of super secret stuff behind the top secret cabinets on the top of things that are in development right now. But we do have right now, well, I guess we would say the magnet line, right, is our 40th.
Yeah.
So about 6 or 8 magnets potentially for the 40th of Return of the Jedi. All Return of the Jedi based characters, props, other things, helmety stuff, kind of leave it at that.
Can we say they're going to be done too?
Yeah, they'll be
okay.
coming out in pairs.
Yeah.
And they'll generally be things that kind of pair together.
Yeah, they play
one
off
way
each
or
other
another.
really nice.
And yeah, we've got, they're really cool. The first 2, so one of them, not only did we develop it, but they've actually made the first 100 or so of them. And those pardon me, those are made 100% here in the New York studio. They're done in resin. They hand paint them all. And then the other one, we are just right now outputting the mold masters, and then that one will go to production. So once we know that one's locked down, we'll look at a release date on those. Yeah. It's actually possible those get released before the, I almost said
Don't say it.
Before the next maquette on the 4th.
Well, sticking to that, someone's asking, could we at least get the price for the next maquette?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'll give a range because
we're still in between a little bit.
We have to, when it comes to this stuff, we have to figure out. First, you do your paint tests and things like that, whatever other elements go on it. But it's not until you have a few of them done and really broken down that you can really nail down the pricing on them. And again, this stuff is being made here in the shop in New York. Those are being hand poured right now. They will be hand painted. All other elements of that's going to be done by hand. So, we just have to account for that. The price should be between $3.99 and $4.49. Once again, signature edition. My guess is $3.99. Mm-hmm. I very, very strongly think that's going to be $3.99. We just don't want to say 100%.
I am pretty caught up. I mean, we have Ian Ashley says, "Listen, we are extremely excited about the Return of the Jedi line." he's one of us. But besides that, I am pretty caught up with questions.
Return of the Jedi was one of those, like, how old were you guys when Return of the Jedi came out? Like, throw that in the comments. I feel like I saw Star Wars, I appreciated Empire. But by the time
you connected with
Jedi,
I really
loved it.
That's what that was my story too.
I always liked the first movie best just because of the cantina for me personally. But as a kid, I feel like Return of the Jedi was just like that was it. It also helped that you had From Star Wars to Jedi, Making of a Saga, which I will say again to anyone who hasn't seen From Star Wars to Jedi, The Making of a Saga, go find it. It's on YouTube. It's on the Star Wars official page.
Yeah, we got a few people answering. 12 years old, 20 years old, 13. So yeah. I mean, that's
and we were
that's
like a 10-year-old. Really,
exactly. So that's really the impressionable years.
Right. And Empire was like such a huge deal, but like I wonder if it's because by the time Jedi came out, we were aware of it and we could anticipate it.
Right.
Where it's like, I feel like Empire came out and it was just like, what? There's a new Star Wars movie?
Right.
Like, we just didn't know why. By the time Jedi came out, it was like, we had been waiting for that. And, like, it left on a cliffhanger with, like, is Darth Vader really his father? Is Han ever going to get out of the carbonite? Like, we were spending 3 years wondering about these things.
We have a not even born in the comments. Make us feel old.
Yeah,
thanks.
See
yourself out.
Well, okay.
I do have a couple more.
Will
we see Droopy McCool as a maquette?
So we would love to see Droopy McCool as a maquette. And I will address one thing, because we showed Bib Fortuna at Star Wars Celebration. And I know a few people, more than a few times now, it seemed like that should be the next one. What I will say is this. Bib Fortuna is developed and approved with Lucasfilm. It is already in production with our group here. I think they're up to about 20 or so of them made right now. However, it is another Phil Tippett signature. And we're just going to try and space things out a little bit, because we've been working with so many of these artists now, and especially as this line's expanding and as we're able to do more of these, like the idea of getting this line with a diverse number of signatures and making it a little broader and more special first, and then going back and doing some others. So I do think that's probably going to be a consideration going forward. Are we going to, Chris Wallace has a few really, really great designs. If you watch the video where I talk with him about this stuff, we go into each one that he did. And there's some in there that are super cool, and there's two specifically that we are already like pretty much ready to go with. I would love to put them right out, but It's like, would you want to do wayless? No,
Yeah.
let's do, one of wayless, one of somebody else, maybe then Phil, then maybe back to Chris, or maybe Dave Carson, or whoever,
We're also going to get that awesome autograph again.
Oh my gosh, Ken
So
Ralston.
good.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who got the Weequay Signature Edition, first off, that sold out. Thank you so much for that. The numbered edition, that was the last one where I think we did the numbered edition. So if you missed the Signature Edition, there is a numbered edition for that one. If you like Klaatu, Ken has a really good Klaatu that's almost the same scale, very, very similar. I feel like that would be a good one for Ken.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you like his signature, let us know. That's good stuff.
Parminder is asking, will the next Maquette have hair?
Parminder, that's a great question. Are they looking behind me again?
Juan is asking, how about producing Millennium Falcon chairs, cockpit chairs?
I would love to do that. That's something we worked on about 5 years ago. We revisited it about 3 years ago. It seems every couple of years we give it a fresh look. Right now, the holdup is that it requires a fiberglass frame the way an automobile car chair would have. And the cost for developing that, and then also the per unit cost, winds up being a little too high for how many we think we're going to sell. And we're basing that on things like the Emperor Thrones at this point. We have a good idea of, how many chairs will go at that sort of $1,500 price range or whatever. This is winding up just out of balance with that. If the balance ever shifts, it's probably something we'll do. If it is something you're into, write the studio. We have a wait list going for that in case we ever do those. And if somebody ever wanted to address it as a custom thing, it's something that's doable, but when you do a custom thing like that, you're covering all of that development. So it can be a little cost prohibitive for just a single chair.
We got two interesting questions. One is, Melly's asking, do you guys break molds after the additions are completed?
So a lot of times molds get retired, yeah. Generally, throughout the course of an edition, you have a number of molds that you're using, and as they get a little bit stiff, you start to retire them. Flexible silicone starts to get a little stiffer. It's tougher to get the part in and out. When they're retired, yeah, they get cut up. It depends a little on the piece. There are a few things where we've kept one mold, almost like just as a backup, as a just in case. But usually, like as things go, yeah, those tend to go away.
Earl says, how about a subscription for the Return of the Jedi maquettes?
We've talked about
We have talked about that.
Earl, here's something. By the way, Earl, thank you. Always with good questions. Always love. I know we've emailed and stuff as well, and seen you at the shows. Always really great having you around. Thank you for all the support of what we do. I almost wonder if the subscription thing could be for like the oddities.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same.
So within Return of the Jedi, they developed 90 of these maquettes, 90 different creatures. It's right about there. It's maybe 88 or something, but it's really close. I would say out of that, there's a good chunk of them that are just weirdos. Just super strange. But some of those are still really fun, and there's a lot of them that might be too expensive to produce as a regular kind of edition. So we're trying to look at ways to do that. Subscription's an idea. I don't know. Yeah, there's some issues on the licensing side where we'd have to work some of that out, but that's an idea. There's also things like, doing some sort of a box set of like the really obscure ones in a very small number but a higher price point, maybe with a multi-signature plaque or something like that. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of ways to approach that. It's a cool idea, and thank you for bringing that.
Parminda says, should we just give you direct access to our bank account? Don't tempt him.
Yeah, I'm going to say I don't feel comfortable. But,
Adam is asking, how about Jedi Council chairs? Those are big.
Yeah, we've talked about that too. We've had a few people look at those for custom items, and they're huge. Yeah, for starters. Anytime you're dealing with a dome chair that someone sits in, the dome winds up being very, very wide. They're a little impractical for everyday use. But we've looked at them, and they generally wind up being, really on the high side cost-wise, just for developing that big half sphere with the chair elements as well. So, but it's neat.
I am caught up.
All right. Well, if nobody else sneaks any questions in, we'll go back to this fella just quick. Now available, limited edition. Edition size to be determined, but very soon. By March 15th, we will set this edition size, and we'll let you know not just how many are going to be sold, but how many are left at the time, so you'll know how fast you have to act. We're very conscious that this is something that a lot of folks want, and we don't want to shut folks out of what we're doing. To us, there is, like I was saying before, it is always nice when something sells out, but it is also nice when people can go to your website and buy things. And I don't want people to feel like our whole website is unobtainium, like I want them to be able to come in and grab stuff and bring the archive into their homes a little bit, like we've been saying here. And so this fella, you can go to the website now, you can pick them up, comes with this print of Christian Altman's concept art that inspired this. It's out of Tony McVeigh's original molds. Tony, who sculpted this for the production. It is based on the paintwork that Tony did for the one sense of production that they then used to make the life size. And it comes with this beautiful plaque, hand signed by both Mr. Altman and Mr. McVeigh, the two people most responsible for putting Baby Yoda in our lives and making Disney executives everywhere very happy. And thank you for making us very happy and watching and asking all these great questions. If you are on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please like our page. Come back and see us. And please go to the Facebook group, Regal Robot Fans and Collectors Showcase. Almost 800 people right now in just a few weeks. Really great group. Lots of behind-the-scenes photos.
And if we hit 1,000, we'll have to do another giveaway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there you go.
Come on, that's more